Whoa.
Just to save who that the Messiah will lay down his life on the line just to save mankind. You came and you changed my life. You came and you made me smile. You came and you brightened.
Feel like I'm going down the steps, not up. Oh, up the steps.
You came to sing and shout. You came and you made me smile. You came and you brightened my whole life, my whole life.
Don't be trying to show my bald head.
How you do that? You just wait on this part? What is this? Young man dance? Look like somebody grandpa and grandma dancing.
I don't need nobody else. I got you out there. With you in my life, I don't see everything sweet like fire. You in my life makes me alive. You in my life makes me alive. Oh, you give me love I can't deny. You're like a sweet, I can't lie. You changed my life. You came and you made me smile.
Okay, we're done. Welcome.
What's happening?
Aquaba.
We're back again.
This is us, sold out, back with another video. Today's video is going to be about broken homes and its effects.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So today we just have a. Let me finish chewing my blow. I know y'all call it ice. We call it blow.
It's not a block. It's not
Anyways.
the block ice. It's the long ones.
That's what we call it. Anyways, what you gonna call it? I'm lost.
Broken homes.
Okay, we're talking about broken homes today. We're talking about family. We're talking about the importance of family, why family is established, the importance in our lives with our family, and their effects when family is not in your life, especially when you're coming from a broken home. Okay, so let's go. And again, as we always say, these are opinions and a little bit of research. So
And
you
a
may
little bit of
agree.
life story.
Right. You may agree or disagree, but you know, they're just opinions. But once we quote the Bible, like I always say, you can deny the fact that this you can deny the fact that God doesn't live. It doesn't make it false. But God is truly alive. So amen.
Amen.
Alright. Today my wife is gonna do a lot of the talking, okay? Because
If
most
anybody
of the time
believe that,
she think I do most of the talking,
then
but
put your hands up.
give
because
her a
it's lie.
chance to share her knowledge. She's very smart and brilliant and knowledgeable with a lot of wisdom God has given this beautiful woman. So I'm trying to get some points for tonight too, so let me give you all the compliments. But go ahead, share what you got.
Broken homes and its effect. So a little bit of my background is I grew up with my grandparents and uncles, and then moved in with my aunt and uncle in 6th grade. And you could say that to me that would be considered a broken home because of the fact that I did grow up living with my parents for long periods of time. Just a little bit of that. So my father was in prison most of the time, but when he was out, I would see him like when he went away or whatever. But I never lived with him. My mother is schizophrenic, so she always had health issues, or her mental state wasn't always the best. So that's the reason why I didn't stay with her. So my grandparents took me in as my legal guardians, and she also had 3 uncles, or I also had 3 uncles who lived there with them. So they kind of helped, they were younger, so of course they was able to be like the hands-on, taking me to school and whatnot, and teaching me the importance of education and all of those beautiful things. 6th grade, of course, I moved here to Bolingbrook in the suburbs since I came here from Chicago and got to live with my aunt, who's my mother's sister, and her husband, which is my uncle, by marriage. And let's just say, he's so annoying. My ring. let's just say it was considered a little bit of a lot of brokenness, and we're just going to talk about that effect, you know, in general. I believe that when you have that type of brokenness in your life, you don't realize its effect on your life until you start to get older and you start to have relationships with people. And I can attest to that. You know, one point I wanted to make is that your relationships become unmanageable. So it's like you're in these situations with people and it just never seems to work. It's like you almost become comfortable with the idea of the brokenness, you know?
That's sad.
That's deep, right? It's like, you know, like here you are in a relationship with people, every relationship I've been in except for with him, but a little bit of him too, because we had to go through a lot of things, but it's just like you become accepting of a lot of things that I feel like maybe if I wasn't in a broken home, then maybe I would have been able to put a stop to or be more aggressive as far as not allowing my heart to just be broken into two. Like I would have been more picky with choosing people who I felt like could help me instead of trying to always date people based on potential. You know, you don't want to date people based on potential because people can sometimes never grow into their potential, or they grow later on in life and guess what, you're not even there. So you never want to date for that, but it was hard not to. It's because you want to see what you want to see. But when God shows you a clarity and it gives you a deeper understanding as far as what that person can offer, which is not always good, then it just puts things in perspective and you learn how to separate yourself from those people because it's no good for you. It's no good for you. So yeah, so you lack fulfillment in life because you come from this broken home. So you're searching for someone to either kind of be that father figure in your life because you feel like you didn't really have your father to be that father figure. So you're looking for that in other people and other men and things like that.
Just men?
Men relationships and friendships. Okay, with friendships, it's more like you're looking for that support. You're looking for people to be there for you. But in my life, I felt like I was there more so for people than them reciprocating it back to me. It was more so like I would drop everything for you. I would do whatever it takes to please these people and then forget about myself. Not saying it's their fault, but it's just something I decided to do because like I wanted somebody to be there for me in that way. And I feel like maybe because it didn't happen for me, like with my parents, it's like almost like I became like a parent or a husband or somebody that just wanted to protect friendships and things like that, even though it wasn't the best type of friendship that it possibly could have been and blossomed into. And so, yeah. So that's the relationship part. And then of course you're lacking support from people sometimes, or not even lack support from people, but just the fact that sometimes you're seeking independence at an early age. I know me growing up, I was never like a needy child. Like it would take a lot for me to ask for something because I already felt like I was a burden to people because it's like, here I am, this mother and fatherless child who needs something else. Like I never wanted to be like that. So I would ask for money. I'll figure it out even in like high school, like, you know, necessities, but it's like, oh, I just really don't want to ask. I just really try to look for a job, but I feel like because of my name, y'all, they didn't hire me. I'm serious. I did not get a job in high school until I was about to get ready and go to college, but that's besides the point. But I'm just saying, like, I just started searching for the answer, like just figuring it out, you know, like people don't have to worry about, you know, even taking me to school or finding my way back home. I always found a way. Like I did what I had to do. But even in college, you know, I sought for seek for that independence, have that type of control in life, which I feel like is not a bad thing. Only though I feel like it could be because sometimes people forget to even ask if you're okay. You know, it's like a lot of time my friends forgot my situation because I didn't make a big deal of it. I laughed it off, like, yeah, whatever, it's alright, you know, not that bad, y'all, calm down. But in reality, it's like, okay, girl, it's kind of messed up a little bit. But it's like, it is what it is. It became my norm. So it's like, that's what you do. Like, you just normalize it. And it's like, it just become, I don't know, what it is kind of thing. And so, yeah.
I think seek is just seek.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah,
I really looked it up.
I had to.
Because salt, I don't know where that came from. You salt after something.
You search, what are you saying?
It's not salt? What's salt?
I don't know. Sort is like to different.
No, salt.
Like, to look for something.
S-O-U-G-H-T.
S-O-U-G-H-T.
H-T. Salt.
I don't know. Go ahead, I'll look for it.
Okay.
Oh, salt. Yeah, you're right. I see what you're talking about. Like fault, salt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's that.
Like attempt to find. You're right.
So you don't have nothing to add to that part? I mean, like, don't you think that's the case for broken homes? It's like people forget to check on you a lot because it's like when you become to that place of independence, it's like people don't really reach out in that way. Like, it kind of like, it's like, yeah, you don't want to be handicapped and feel like you have to rely on people, but then because you don't rely on people so much, they
I don't know. Fortunately, by grace and God's blessings, I didn't have that problem, so I don't know. But I definitely know out of something like rejection and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But one thing I can add is like with family, you know, God instituted family for a reason. Like when the last time we did a teaching on family, like the man is the head, the woman is under the man, because the man is under God and the woman and the children. God instituted this way for a reason, because he said the man will provide for the family, the woman will respect the husband and do as the husband say. The kids will respect their parents, and that way that means the parents are to find ways and means for the kids to survive. They kind of like define their children's future by trying to set a good example or set a future for them. But a family with no stability, it's like, let's take like single homes for example. You know, like single homes for example. Say a mother and father, they didn't get married.
You don't have one or the other. It's like
they separate. It's like you spend a week with your mom, and the next week I'm gonna go to daddy. It's like these things. Most of the time, I don't think we think it affects people as much. I haven't been in that situation, but statistically, you can tell these things affect a lot of kids because they're moving from house to house trying to find a refuge. Now they live with mom, where mom have different type of men coming in and out every day. He or she has no father figure in her life. So every man that, unfortunately, the mom is also trying to find somebody that will care for her and her kids. So that these men also always go for the opportunity of taking advantage of women that they see are handicapped. You know what I'm saying? They come take advantage, and these kids will go through a cycle of learning from different men, and then sometimes they tend to think that changing men over and over or changing women over and over, it's okay because mom or daddy did it. Mom and dad didn't get married because situationships happen, and they have to live with such life in the future. This is what I think bring in their lives. Now you have to rely on other people for help. If I'm wrong, you tell me, because I haven't been in this situation, but from what I've seen, I feel that the people that you start to rely on, they feel a sense of ownership of the child. Be your friends, be your family, be your church. Let's take church out. Church is another family that when you don't have a family at home, is a place to have a family at. But it's mostly school, your community, your family, your friends. If your mom and dad don't really take care of you, and these people tend to take care of you, they feel a sense of ownership, like they own you, okay? And the least they do for you, no matter how much you would try to equal what they've done for you in the past, it will never equal. When you grow up, people try or tend to control your life, okay? I have seen just a little bit in your life. Yeah. Honestly, I've seen it just a little bit, because it's a point where, and this is not to nobody, but that's just us, how human beings we are. Where I see it as, in your past life, say you dated a couple of people, right? And these friends or family that is around you, they have a hold of it. Like, you always let them know what's going on in your life, what you're doing, what your next step is. They always give you advice what to do and what not to. I feel like I'm on the underside, I also have an ownership of where I belong. When I come, I don't let nobody decide for me. So I feel like when I came in this relationship, I had to put some things together. Like, I don't want you talking about my relationship with other people. You keep your friendship separate, and you keep this romantic relationship we have on the side separate. Because if you mix both, I'm not the type of guy that want to mix these things together. You keep your friends, I have my friends.
Yeah.
We can be cordial, but we don't have to always be talking about each other. I don't go sit down with my friends and talk about my girlfriend all day. Guys don't do that. Girls tend to do that. And when people don't know much about your relationship, they tend to kind of like fight with you about that. Why don't we know about this? And then when you start getting comfortable over here, everybody think at the time I probably had sex with you or something, but we never did. Just because you were feeling uncomfortable because of how I made you feel. Everybody thought, well, why don't you want to be around me or that and that and the third? Because why are you always with this guy? Did you have sex with him? But it was just because of the comfort that it brought. And it's because of the brokenness in the home, from the home, because that you rely on these people for a long time. You tell them your life, everything you're doing. And unfortunately for you, you come to a certain place where you don't have to explain yourself to anybody. They don't understand it. So then in their minds, where you are, it's like somebody is a commander over there. It's a controller over there. So the person is controlling.
Yeah.
I've heard people use that word for me a lot ever since I came here. Like they feel like I'm controlling. And it wasn't that I was controlling. I have peace over here, so I bring peace. If you come, you will have peace. Not that I have the peace, because I just didn't go through that stuff. So I tend not to care about certain things. And if a person comes to a place where they feel comfortable, they don't want to get away from there and go somewhere else. You know, if I'm wrong, then you tell me. But I feel like I felt this a little bit with certain people. You know,
I can agree. It's more so like when you grow up with broken homes, it's like sometimes I feel like you're not as selfish because you feel like you said, you feel like you owe these people, you know, your time, your energy, all of these different things. But sometimes, like, you have to remember that you have to take care of yourself too. So with some people, it's like, oh, I put them first. Friendships, family, whatever it was, I put them first in that time or when they needed it. But then when it was my time to need something from them, it's like I didn't get that. But with you, I did. So it's like, of course, I'm gonna gear towards you, a person who is reciprocating the same type of attention and energy and time that I'm putting in. You know, you become selfish, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing. You're no longer like, this is potentially my husband, so of course I want to spend time with him. We're developing something new. Like, I had those times with those people in that time. But when you start dating people for real, like, you want to make new memories. Not to say that I didn't want to spend time with those people, but I didn't want to spend as much time as I used to with them because of you. I wanted to make new memories. And some people didn't agree with that. But that's it. But you have to, you know, I feel like when you come from a broken home, it affects you in a way that you're not bold. Like, you don't speak up for yourself. And that was me for a long time. Like, I was just one of those people, I didn't like to argue. So I said, okay, whatever, be quiet, not say nothing until I went to college, dealt with some people, and I had to speak up. I had to, because it was like people were stepping on my heart, like they just use me. And then I'm like, wait, that's not right. What? This is not normal. Like, I can't just allow this to happen in my life. So that's kind of what it came down to. I had to speak up how I really felt about situations, even if it was old. I just had to bring it up now because I finally felt like I could speak up for myself. I could be confident and bold enough to say this and this happened, and because of it, this is how I feel. And it's just hard for people to swallow that. But we know that God is real. And the scripture I have for you guys is Psalms 34, verse 18. It says, the Lord is nigh unto them that are of broken heart, and saveth such as be of a contrite spirit. And contrite is just a person who feels remorseful, who feels they're like affected by guilt all the time. So it can be from situations or whatever it is. So it's basically saying that God saves those type of people who have the type of spirit within them. And he's near to those who are brokenhearted, because when you're weak, he's strong. So he teaches you how to lean on him for understanding instead of other people who we know is going to let you down.
Right. And the Bible also said, "Curse be onto anyone that rely on another human being."
Yeah.
If all your trust is in another human being, it's like, curse be unto you. The curse is you're gonna be disappointed. Take the tragedy that happened recently with Kobe Bryant, her daughter, for instance. Everybody, it's in shock that this guy died. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is something we all didn't expect. Both fans and people who are not fans of even basketball, soccer players, football players, everywhere in the world, everybody is so saddened by this death. But this death kind of reminded people, if you went on social media, it reminded people that tomorrow is not promised. And that's what these are the curses the Bible was talking about. Curse be unto any man who rely too much on another man. Because no matter how much I promise you I'm going to be there for you, maybe tomorrow I won't, because I don't own life. You know, God owns life. And
even if you're busy, like something can happen, you
right.
can't be there.
You
like,
can't be
you
there.
can't physically, be there at the time.
Right. And that's how gracious God is, because God is just awesome in our lives, and no matter what we do, He will always come above and beyond what other people do for us. And that's just the truthfulness of who God is. We were talking about grace. Sister Jasmine posted something on. I'm gonna read it. She made this post on Facebook. She's talking about grace, how much gracious God is. She said, "See how many times God has given you grace and mercy." She is 35, so times 365 days, which is a year altogether, God has given her 12,775 times grace. That's how much more you can rely on God. 12,775 days of a lifetime for this lady. And then when I saw that, I went to Matthew chapter 18, verse 22. And what it talks about was forgiving somebody. When Peter asked God, how many times are we supposed to forgive a brother or sister? And Jesus said, not 7 times, but 77 times. That portion was inferring to how many times God forgive we as people on earth every day. So God forgive us 77 times, even if we sin 77 times or we don't. That's why He inferred to that. Can anybody do that? No. But that's what God can do. So I did the math, and I did it with her age, and I said, you're 35 years times the 365 days that God has given to you, which amounts to 12,775 times 77. That is 983,675 times grace and just forgiveness that God has given people. This means this is how much we can rely on God than a human being. Imagine the 35 years of our life. How many people has died that she known in her life? If she was relying on these people for life, they wouldn't be able to come true, you know. And that's just life. So it's good that we rely on God more so. And also, I wanted to show this statistics. I took this from Pastor Vlad. The differences between families. A family that is stable, that is religious, that believe in they have a moral, construction in their family. Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's between these two families. The first family is called these are certain things we depict from our family. Okay, mother and father. So there are two families. The first one is called Mac Jukes. Okay, ungodly, and had 540 descendants in America. The second guy's name is Jonathan Edwards. He is a godly man, and he had 1,394 descendants. And you can do this research on your own. According to the research, the differences between these two families, the one that has God and the one that doesn't have any God. So the guy, Max Jukes, and his family, they're non-believers, okay? This is what happened to his descendants. Out of the 540 descendants, he had 310 who died to paupers. I don't know what that is. It's Paupers. That's very negative. 150 were criminals. 7 were murderers. 100 were drunkards. More than half of women were prostitutes from this family that was in Galilee, from Max Jukes, Maxjukes. They cost the United States $1.25 million of their lifetime. This family, this 540 descendants of Max Jukes, they cost the United States 1.25 million. This is because of the things that they went through. The 310 who died from poverty, probably drugs. 150 were criminals. That means the government have to deal with it. 7 that were murderers. They had to go to jail. The government had to take care of it. 100 that were drunkards and prostitutes.
Fines and
Right. And this is Jonathan Edwards, the godly man, who has 1,394 descendants. Out of the 1,394, 13 became college presidents, 65 college professors, 3 United States senators, 30 judges, 100 lawyers, 60 physicians, 75 Army and Navy officers, 100 preachers and missionaries, 60 authors of prominence, 1 a vice president of the United States, 80 became public officials in other capacities, 295 college graduates. So this is the difference between a man that is godly and a man that is not godly and their family descendants. So this speaks for itself. I have nothing to add to it, but this is just the research and statistics of a family that's together and a family that's broken. So the difference between a broken home and a home that's united. And if you want, you can search them for yourself. The godly man was Jonathan Edwards, and the ungodly man was Max Jukes. God bless you. That's what I have.
amen. Well, that's all I had too.
So we say this to say that as human beings, we need to plan our life, but God is the one who constructs our plans that we have, so we need to rely on Him alone. Broken homes will always be alive as far as we live, because that's a curse that's on earth. The 100% sin that we have put on this earth is what birthed all these sins into our lives. So we're going to continue to suffer. But we ought to rely on God for everything that we do, because we can't do it on our own. Now, I'm praying for Kobe Bryant's family, what they're going through right now. They rely on this man for food, for everything. 41 years of age, this was a time for him to live his best life. Like, he left all the money on the side. His family can use it, but they're still gonna miss a big portion of this guy who made all this for the family.
Yep.
So what we're saying is, take care of yourself, make plans, but rely on God for everything. And if you're from a broken home, if you don't have a family, a church is a family that God has given freely to everybody. Churches that judge, I can't speak for them, but Pastor Vlad said, if you think the church is hypocrite, well, there's more room for one more. You are the room that we're looking for. There's a lot of hypocrites out there.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
So you can't even say that. Also, just make sure that you don't allow where you come from to be your end. Reading the book about, what is it? 10 Ways to Highly Effective People. I don't know if it's 10 ways, but I'm reading it. And he talks about the end in mind, thinking about the end in mind. So as if tomorrow was your last, or today was your last day, how would you want it to live? How would you want people to see you? How would you want things to change for you in a rapid time, or just doing things to be effective so that people can see the light within you? Like, it's so important. I'm paraphrasing, but I'm putting it in my own words. But basically, that's what I took from it. It's like, regardless of where I came from, I still have to be the light, and I still have to strive and push myself not to be a statistic, not to be what people maybe thought was going to happen based on the situation. No, because God is with me, and I break every curse, every demonic thing in my family.
Shabbat, in Jesus' name.
Anything that is trying to continue to thrive, even in my home, no, we're not allowing it. It's not even going to enter the door, because I've learned to accept the fact that this is my situation, but it was a reason for it. You have to know that everything happens for a reason, a testimony. You don't know what happened to Kobe Bryant's family. Maybe they were apart, maybe they weren't talking to each other, and maybe this brought people together. A lot of times that do happen. You just never know why this had to happen. So, and God doesn't care about status. So regardless, if you don't believe in God, you should definitely try. Seek Him. Try to find out what's He about. Because it would change everything. So.
And I'll definitely give you Ecclesiastes chapter 1, chapter 3, read through the whole thing whenever you're going through something. It talks about there's a time to be born, a time to die, a time to sow, a time to reap, a time to be sorrowful, a time to laugh, a time for peace, a time for sadness. There's time for everything. Nothing will live forever. So rely on God, pray a lot. do the best you can to search for this guy that we've been talking about, Jesus Christ, for so long. And do the best you can to have a relationship with him. And I'm pretty sure your life would be not the same. The world would come to see who you are, your story, and come to acknowledge the fact that you have also, come out of somewhere that you're not supposed to. 10 years ago, I was some African kid walking in the lands of Africa. I never knew I'd be married to this beautiful lady. And here I am, by the grace of God, I'm grateful for that. So be grateful for whatever you have and just pray that God add more to it. And never use somebody's life to compare to your life. Comparison kills. As Jonathan said, comparison kills. So never compare your life to anybody. You don't have a certain age to get married. There's no age for you to be rich. There's no age cap. All you got to do is look up to God and do the best you can.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he'll come through for you. And don't let your broken home break who you are. Let God continue to use you for his ministry. Amen.
Amen. Bye, guys. Love and peace with you all.
You know what I'm saying?